You're not your behaviors, you're you. One of the things that I've learned and have also have read about and studied and all that jazz is about identity and behaviors. So one of the things that a lot of people struggle with is behavior, which is fair because behavior is hard. And how do we define behavior? Well, it's left for many interpretations. However, for how I'm using it in this context, it's what you do. And so oftentimes people struggle with certain behaviors, whether it's, I don't know, let's use hygiene, for example. Maybe you're somebody who doesn't always brush their teeth. And so you begin to identify as somebody who's lazy or somebody who may not value their hygiene, whatever it may be. That's the thought and that's the story we tell ourselves about a specific behavior. And we learn to identify with negative traits behind it. Another example would be, let's say you're a smoker, and it's all you've ever learned, it's all you've ever done. So I identify as a smoker. I'm a person who smokes. And when we think about identifying with behaviors, it can also stem back to identifying with our feelings too. So, for example, when you're feeling anxious, oftentimes people will say, "Oh, I'm anxious," or "Oh, I'm angry," or "Oh, I'm sad," or whatever other emotion or feeling you want to put in there. People are going to use that as a way to identify with themselves, and it's about the wording that we're using to describe these things. And where am I getting at with all this? Well, what I'm getting at is that you're not your behavior, you're not your feelings, you're you. And who's you? Well, I mean, that's not for me to say, that's for you. You learn how to identify who you are, what you believe in, and all these other freeing things that we get to do as humans. So when I'm letting you know, or when I'm saying you're not your behavior, I like to use the context of looking at it this way. I love pizza. Uh, However, I am not a pizza lover. And what that means is I don't identify, I am not the behavior of eating pizza, but I'm a guy who loves pizza, right? So it's the fact that I'm separating myself from the behavior itself, because let's say I wasn't able to do that, then I'd lose a sense of self. Same thing back to the analogy of the smoker. If I quit smoking, I'm no longer a smoker, then who am I? Well, you're still you, you're just not smoking anymore. And same thing goes with the hygiene aspect. You're not dirty, you're not somebody who's filthy or doesn't value those things. It's just the behavior you're currently doing isn't fitting the needs of what you want to do. And so in order for that to change, we have to change the behaviors that we're doing. And I don't know about you, I like to believe that we have full ability to change those things about ourselves, our behaviors. And again, our behaviors are not us. I know for me, if I still had identified as an alcoholic, then in my case, I would still be an alcoholic, even though I quit drinking 9 years ago. And so rather than identifying with a past experience of behaviors, I more so understand it as a way of thinking about the behavior of what I did when I needed to cope. Because at the end of the day, behaviors are the things that we do, and what behaviors are doing is it's eliciting a response to a stimulus that we're having. So when I would drink, typically it was a response to something that had happened. Maybe I got angry, maybe I was having a bad day. Whatever it was, I knew that I could go to drinking to resolve the problem I was having. And that wasn't the healthiest or the best way, but it was what I did with what I had and what I knew. And so when we think about how we're feeling, what we're doing, and all these other aspects of our life, don't lose yourself in what you're doing because things will change. Same thing with fitness. I absolutely love fitness, and if it wasn't there and I couldn't do it anymore, am I still me? Well, yeah, I'm just not doing a big part of what I truly love doing. I'm still myself, though. I don't lose that. If I lose the behavior, I lose myself. If I lose myself, then who am I or what am I? And so we want to make sure that we're not getting ourselves overwhelmed or overconsumed with the things that we're doing and misidentifying ourselves with those behaviors. Because, again, at the end of the day, you're not hungry, you're feeling hungry. I'm not anxious, I'm feeling anxious. I am not an alcoholic, but I am a person who's had troubles with alcohol in the past. So when, again, we reflect back and we think about these aspects, it's that I'm learning to separate the behavior from the person, which is me. And so I am not my behaviors. I'm always able to change my behaviors as much as I can for the stage that I'm at. And you're not your emotions either, because you're going to be passing these emotions, right? Some days I feel happy, some days I feel sad, some days I'm depressed, some days I'm grieving, some days I'm a variety of different feelings. And it doesn't last, it changes all throughout the day, weeks, months, etc. And so what I hope you take away from this is that you begin to learn to label your feelings as an experience that is passing through you rather than it being a part of who you are. Because remember, you're not your behaviors, you're not your feelings, you're not your emotions, you're you. You're just experiencing these things, and you get to create who you are. And there's nobody telling you that you can't be somebody you want to be. It's just a matter of taking the time and learning to identify new values, new behaviors, and how you want to choose to respond to what's happening. And so I hope that from today, you can begin to understand yourself better, learn to understand that you're not your behaviors, you're not the things that you're doing, and that you're just you. All right, well, I'll catch you in the next video.